Okay, guys, we are live.
I think you have to be on, Stephanie, because it's just showing the
I
blueprint
just
to events.
I just unmuted you.
Right. But it's just showing, you have to be on by you being the producer because just showing the BP2 events. So it should be clicking on soon. What do you guys see on your side?
I see everybody.
Yeah, I see everybody. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, we're good.
Okay, perfect. All right, I'm just getting mine up so I can see here. There we are. All right. So, hi guys, welcome to our. Can you believe this is our ninth Wind Down Readers virtual book review? We have been up in 9 times. This is just unreal. But anyway, and I'm your host, Takesha Edwards, and I am the owner of Blueprint to Events. And this is our virtual event. And Wind Down Readers is a virtual book club. And tonight we will be discussing chapters 1 through 8 of Something Blue, Something New by Marlee Ray. And Something Blue, Something New is a part of her Something About Love series. It's 3 books. The first one is Something Old, Something New, and then Something Borrowed, Something New. And now tonight we are reviewing the first half of Something Blue, Something New. You can go check us out on YouTube to see all of our past videos. And I am so excited about tonight. Most importantly, I'm excited about our panelists tonight. Hi, guys. I love introducing you and shouting out where you're coming from. So get ready for it. So tonight, I'm going to start with our DMVers. So we have Alex over here. Hi, Alex.
Hey.
We have Jay. Hey, Jay, how's it going?
What's up? How's everybody?
We have Shamel, who is new tonight. We're happy to have her. Hi, Shamel.
Hi.
We have Wanda. Hey, Wanda.
Hi, everyone.
All right. And then our long distancers, we have Miss Nene Harris from Houston. Hi, Nene.
Hey.
All right. And we have Gloria and Jawad from the ATL. We got 2 AT-aliens tonight.
Hello.
And oh my God, my Kendra. How did I forget my Kendra? My Kendra's a DMVer too. Look, I don't, VA, I'm sorry, VA. I apologize. Shame on me. Shame on me. All right. And our other long distancer, we have all the way from Florida, our famous panelist, Miss Pat. How you doing, Miss Pat? And finally, the wonderful thing about our group is that our virtual book club is that we have the authors on with us. We have had 9 shows, and every time we've had to have the opportunity and the pleasure of having the author to join in on the discussion with us. So let me introduce you to Miss Marlee Ray, coming from St. Louis. She is the author, proud author of the Something About Love series. How you doing, girlie?
Good, I'm doing great.
Well, guys, let's go ahead and get started. So again, we're discussing the first chapters 1 through 8 tonight of Something Blue and Something New. And just to give you a brief description of the book, it opens with the question, what happens when a perfect woman meets an imperfect man? Janae has her world in the palms of her hands, enjoying life. She's beautiful, has a great career, loving family, and loyal friends. The only thing missing is true love filled with the passion she desires. Calvin, handsome, arrogant, and entitled, all of which he uses to facade to cover a facade to cover his not so happy life. When he enters Janae's world, she tasks with guiding him to becoming a new man, or leaving him alone in misery. Voyage with Janae as she encounters the blue side of Calvin and the new side of Calvin. All right. So, before we get started, because we are wind down readers, and if you're watching us for the first time, we got to make sure we drink as we discuss. Wanda, I saw your facial expression. It's okay. It's okay. So I'm going to ask my Facebook group, get ready. I want to see what you're shouting out. And first of all, hello to my Facebook groupers. Hello, JS. Hello, Sahara. Hello, Deborah King, which we're going to be reviewing Deborah King's book next month. So stay tuned for that. She's also an awesome author. We have Barbara Allen. Miss Crump, she couldn't join us tonight, but she's joined us via Facebook. Yolanda Jordan. So I think I got everybody so far. You guys make sure you shout me your drinks out. I'm going to start with the panelists. Alex, what you drinking on? What you sipping on tonight?
Tonight is some Moscato.
Moscato, okay. That's one of our favorites.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Marlee Ray, what you got going on over there?
Oh, I changed it up tonight. I got lemonade and Tito's.
Oh, my favorite go-to. Okay. Kendra, what you got going on?
I got a red blend. The what is it? Whoa, some red blend. I can't remember the name. I done drunk too much of it. That's what it is.
Me too. You heard my reading earlier. I shouldn't have had those few sips. All right, Nene, what you sipping on, girly?
Girl, I got some white Hennessy.
Oh, now she took it to the barbecue back door, didn't she?
Yes, some white Hennessy with a little splash of lime.
We gonna have to watch you the remainder of the night, okay? All right, Wanda, what you got going on? Uh-oh, you muted, baby. I think you still muted, Wanda.
Yeah, just some hibiscus iced tea. I'm sorry. That's all I can do.
Oh, that's okay. I like hibiscus.
I have to work tonight after this.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? We understand that. Miss Pat, what you got over there?
Capricorn.
Yeah.
Rose Sangria.
Gloria turned me on to that. Gloria, what you got? You and Joelle, what you got going on? Gloria, you're muted, so we'll start with Joelle. Joelle, what you have?
Sangria that Miss Pat has.
You got the same sangria, Miss Pat. Great minds think alike. Mm-hmm. What about you, Gloria? Same?
Same.
All right. Okay, Miss Shamel.
I just got a little bit of iced tea.
Okay, we'll let you have a look. Wink, wink, Long Island iced tea, right?
Yes.
Okay, Jay, don't disappoint me. What you got tonight?
Pineapple and coconut water.
Okay, well, look, you moving on up. You crawling before you walk out.
That's right.
I'll take it. I'll take it. Now, did I forget anyone? I got everybody's drink. Okay, let me see what they drinking on in our Facebook group. Okay. Looks like there's another iced tea. Deborah King has iced tea. Okay, so everybody in Facebook is playing sober tonight. Okay, I see. Well, I am drinking, I showed you the red blend last time, but I'm drinking the Riesling of the Black Girl Magic by the McBride sisters. And this is the Riesling one. And just because, Miss Pat and Marlee Ray and the rest of y'all have fancy drinks, I added blueberries to mine. So I need y'all to top that next time, okay?
All right.
So cheers. Cheers. Let's hold our glasses up. Let's cheers to this author with this chapter 1 through 8. She keeps taking us on a different hill every time, okay? So cheers, Marlee Ray, to chapter 1, chapter 8. Chapter
cheers.
8.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So before we start with our questions, I do want to sneak in a couple of announcements. Remember that we do have a YouTube page, and I would like for all of you guys that are on the panel, as well as you guys are watching in our Facebook group, to subscribe. We have an IG page that's coming soon, so hold tight. Hopefully, we'll have that up by the next book review. And we have our logo coming. I don't know if you remember Nicole. She was Steph Williams' book designer. She has agreed to do our logo, so I'm super excited about that. And so those are just a few of the announcements we have tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and dive into the questions. All right. So we know something about something blue, something new. And remember, this book is also taking place in St. Louis. So my first question is, what is your opinion about Calvin's personality at this point? What y'all think about Brother Calvin at this point?
Arrogant.
Who arrogant? I like that. Okay.
He's too old to be acting the way he is.
Kendra,
I mean,
he's
on, you past 35. These are all mature adults.
Yes.
Well, some people develop slower than others.
After 40 though?
obviously
Because he's past 40.
He's past 40.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Oh, Jay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jay.
Yes,
Go on, Pat. Go on, Miss Pat.
I think he might be suffering from the Michael Jackson syndrome because
Something.
he was in acting for so long that
Oh,
Yeah.
good
he didn't
point.
have that development time of
Yeah.
a normal kid to teenager. So, you know, he's still catching up with life.
Yeah.
Right.
Miss
I ain't
Pat,
trying
I
to
picked
raise
up on
no
that too,
man
as
past
you know,
40.
my attitude changed towards him when I read that part. So it was like I kind of like backed down, like, you know, he really didn't have a childhood. So I
Yeah.
kind of like, you know, I was like, let me give him a chance. Okay, look, there's Alex.
Now you know, look. Now you know this is Alex's book tonight. Look, unfortunately, Mel couldn't be here, but you know she had already forecasted. Okay.
So I have to agree with Nini. Like when I first started reading it, I was like, something about him isn't adding up.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the mentioning of him being a child actor happened, I was like, "Ooh, I know these types. They
Right.
don't grow up or mature the same way the rest of us do, because they're so protected by who they're around when they're on a TV show set or a movie set. Like, I mean, like, I'm sure, you know, Daniel Radcliffe didn't mature normally compared to if he had siblings, compared to his siblings. So Calvin's behavior, while at first is like,
Yeah.
how old are you? Like, you should be more mature than that. But then when it came down to the fact, basing off of his childhood and not seeing his family in the way that he would have liked to, or having had that relationship with his parents, specifically his mother, who he saw as commandeering rather than as a mother, he's going to mature in a very different way. So, you know, yes, when I first read it, I was like, damn, this guy is acting like a damn child. And then when we got to the point where we were reminded that he was a child actor, I was like, that's where that maturity is missing. Is he's not he didn't mature in the real world. He matured on a TV set.
He matured on a TV set. Kendra, I saw your hand up.
Right.
You know what? Thank you so much, Alex, as well as Miss Pat, reminding us about Calvin's past history. And I think one of the important points I liked about this, you know, this is Alex's book and Mel's book, and they're not on here, but just to build up from the two previous books, it seems like the men were pretty well put together. And then we come to this book with Janae's story and Calvin.
Well,
and then, you know, Janae seems to be the most mature of the three friends.
Right.
And then she's the one who gets the immature, or one needing to you know, to be a little bit more mature as a male. But the one thing I can appreciate when I look at all Marlee's books is a great lesson in life. I mean, no matter if we're child actors, as Alex said, regular people like everybody else, sports or celebrity, everybody needs to invest in that personal self-development. Just like they get acting coaches, they need personal self-development coaches.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Even those of us that think we're sane. You always need a
Therapist,
little
self-development.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. I like that, you guys. I'm gonna go to the next question before I tell you what I think about Calvin, because I am not pleased with the men in chapters 1 through 8. Let's just say that I don't like Brian and I don't like Calvin so far. So how about that? So I will say, look at Marlee laughing. I am really relying on chapters 9 through 17 to redeem one of these guys, because I'm like, Janae, hold tight. But okay, so the next question I wanted to go to, you remember in chapter 4, Janae and Calvin's date ended early. And the question is, and Steph was an inspiration behind this question, how many of us are guilty for internalizing our date's actions? I mean, sometimes you have you don't realize sometimes your perception you could have on the first date. So what are some of your perceptions of that? And excuse me, 1 second, Alex, I'm putting the cart before the horse. Let me see what our Facebook group thinks about Calvin's personality first. I don't want to get too off track with them. So let's see here. We have Deborah King, and she said he's nothing like he was in the first 2 books. He's a bit immature, but I think his growth is stunted. So he agrees with you guys. Tracy Olivia Wright said he is insecure and he has mommy issues. Okay, that's interesting, because that is brought up later in the book. And oh wow, and I do think that is that's very good, Tracy Olivia Wright, for bringing that up, because that's right on. He does have some other issues that probably spills over into how he relates to women in his relationships. Mm-hmm. But again, in chapter 4, remember when Janae and Calvin's date ended early? What do you guys think about that? Alex, you had your hand up. I don't know why Calvin's name is stuck in my mouth. You had your name up. Your hand up.
I mean, I think the best way to explain what happened at that situation was sometimes, I mean, Calvin even says it himself, that he's like, she is way better, like way out of his own league, that he's trying to, reach for the stars with Janae. But my thing with him is, like, if you have a background where, like you just mentioned, he has issues relating to women, and he meets a woman who is self-independent. Well, that's self-independent, she's independent, she's self-sufficient, that's the word I was looking for. And she doesn't need a man to complete her life, really. Like, she got everything she needs, ready to go. But that, to a man who interactions with women is stunted, and we all know that he has a bad relationship with his mother from the get-go, he's gonna be afraid to accept what's happening in front of him. Like, if he believes he is not worth the time that she is taking to spend with him and the compliments, and like to say, oh, this is a great date, why, this is really amazing. If you as an individual can't accept someone else's attraction to you, there's a lot of issues there. And having
I totally
right, having a therapist or not, if you're not willing to work through that with that person and be honest and upfront and say, hey, I feel really intimidated right now, that's not going to help that relationship, and I think that we later on get into the fact that he is sharing more with her, but even with that, I don't feel like he's sharing enough.
No, I don't think so either. Wanda, you had your hands up. I'm sorry.
No, not a problem. I just was going to kind of respond to what Alex said, because I think his lack of a relationship with his mother, actually lack of seeing his mother show emotion and be engaging with him as a child, but with the other children too. So it wasn't like he missed something that the others had. They didn't have a mother that did that. I think as it relates to the relation to the date ending early, he was also used to being in control.
Yes.
So he doesn't have that. With Janae, is that he doesn't know what to do. And remember, he's already suffering from trying to figure out what's wrong and how to gain confidence and how to be. So this definitely knocks him off because now he finally gets with her and realize, hey, I'm really the underdog. Because if you think about the date he was on when the story started, he was, in power. He didn't care if she walked away. He didn't care if she stayed for dinner. But for this one, he doesn't have any control. So that's, to me, that kind of led to his reaction is because he was out of his norm. He didn't know what to do.
Yes, Miss Pat.
Well, a first date determines whether or not there's going to be a second date.
True.
So, you got to give it all you have. Cutting it early gave her the impression maybe we're not that compatible. Maybe there's some reason why we, have to do it this way. So, and she did mention later on, I thought you wanted to cut it off.
Right.
So saying anybody who's going on a first date and they want this to continue, they need to make sure they can get to the second date.
Yeah.
They got to make that's true. I will say, Shamel, I saw your hand next, and I'm gonna go to Alex in the Facebook group.
I was thinking there was some type of physical attraction that kept drawing him back to her. Remember, they went out on a date, he ended it, and then he turned back around and called her back and was like, hey, what are you doing? So it's more of some type of physical attraction that he's feeling from her.
I agree.
Yeah.
Alex?
I was going to say that not only did they have a relatively rocky first date, he never called her back.
Okay.
He called him. So that for me, just even if I were in a situation with somebody and, he asked for my number, he got the number, he calls me, and then I never called him back, that other person would be like, clearly they're not interested in the situation. So I'm going to move on. So he was already at a back pedal to begin with because he had not followed up and called her back to begin with. And as we were reminded, and as he was reminded by a few people, that you need to call her back.
That's the first sign that you're interested.
If you want to make a good impression on somebody,
right,
you got to follow through at least on the basic of calling someone back. Just like you said, Keisha, if you're interested, you're going to call the person back. If you're not interested, you're not going to call them back.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Kendra, and then I'm going to go to Wanda.
You know what's interesting? Like Wanda said, if, the first date determines the second date. Of course, you want to shoot your best shot, and I'm not a man, so Jay can chime in after this comment. But, you got to look at Calvin from the first book. Calvin was the annoying neighbor. Even the mom was like, he needs a woman. So he goes up to try to shoot his shot to get the number, but then he doesn't call. But he's in therapy. And I don't know if you really want to disclose that the first time you start dating somebody. And what point has he been in therapy long enough to, go into steps as towards date? And see, even when he was on the first date, when all the three girls were hanging out together, he definitely has confidence in himself because his thoughts, it goes through the storyline that, hey, you don't know me, like you see me, you don't know me, I'm a childhood actor, so he expects everybody to be attracted to him.
Right.
And then, you got that one person out. Everybody got that one for him. Everybody got that one. So it's just like, and I think as we further get down in the book, of course, Janae knows who he is, but it's like, look, dude, as a man, you gotta shoot your shot, but you give them, as Marlee did in the previous other books with the guys, you give them enough to nibble on. But then Calvin, he has the absence of that. He doesn't have it with his father. He doesn't have it with his mother. So it seems like throughout his life, he's always been coached and trained to be an actor. And moving with,
He's playing the
you know,
part.
Janae,
Right.
you know, playing a
Yes.
part.
Yeah.
And, you know, he has to think deeper to find out who he is and what he wants. So it's going to be challenging. But yeah, I don't think you bring up, you know, all those things on a first date, you know, real simple. And I thought the first date was absolutely wonderful, but did it seem like he went into PSD? You know, he stopped.
PTSD.
He PTSD, like, wait. So that lets me know, should he really be dating if you got
Right.
PTSD?
He lost control. Wanda, and then I'm gonna go to Nene and then the Facebook group.
No, I guess I was going to say, I was trying to kind of track back in the book because I thought that he asked for the number, but from the number he never called back. But from the date he called after they got back from their date, after, you know, because he did go into his, and I'm not going to call it PTSD. I think it's more, it's still his, before he called back, and this was said in the book a couple of times, before he called back, he began to go back to his therapist because he didn't want to approach Janae with the wrong mindset. And he knows he has these challenges. And so to me, I applaud him. I mean, he's had the therapist since he was a child actor.
Mhm.
And I guess I didn't put so much credence on that part because that's a part of your life you develop it anyway. If he was 20 and 25 and still, you know, and didn't, missed out on these things, that's something different. But when you're a child, you learn to adjust, I think. But I think with his just the fact that he realized that he wasn't right enough to even approach a woman, approach Janae in a very interested way, and he wanted to get himself together. And it just so happened that they got together before he fully got himself together. But the fact that he was willing to even go that far with her on the first date, that he began to shut down, but it wasn't like he walked away. So he shut down.
Exactly.
Nothing
It wasn't
hurt
like he walked away.
oh, I can really talk to her. And so I didn't do her right. You know, I didn't treat her right. And so he's willing to open up for that reason. And so, I'm a team Calvin right now.
Uh-oh, we got one team Calvin. Okay, well, let me go to the Facebook group and see what's going on.
At least
Look, somebody got to be for Calvin, right?
Yep, that's
right.
So Steph said, internalizing actions can ruin relationship even before it starts. Deborah King said Janae shouldn't be with him. She's too put together to be trying to fix a basket case. Oh wow, it's worse than Calvin. I agree with her on that. Tracy Olivia Wright said he shows his lack of maturity. Is that really confidence though? Let's see. And then Deborah King also goes to say that Janae shouldn't be with him. He's too, okay, it looks like her comment was repeated twice. I will say this. I'm cloudy right now. I don't know. What you got to say, Steph? Nene, before we move on.
Okay. Sorry. I'm team Calvin too. No.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm team Calvin too. And the reason is because I felt like him going to see a therapist, that was his way of trying to be a better person, but he didn't really know how to be a man. He didn't have a Brock in his life. Like when you look at the other guys, they had a Brock that schooled them, that showed them the way of how to be a man, that they could go to him for problems and issues. Miss Pat, you agree? He didn't have that. He didn't have that man to show him how to be a man. And so he relied on his looks and his arrogance because he was a TV star. He didn't know. And it was like he came across like he did, but he was very, very immature.
Very.
But I felt like he didn't have a Brock. But no, I was team Calvin.
You was team Calvin.
But I also finished the book too.
Okay, you be careful. Alex, what you got going on?
So
I know you finished one.
I haven't. I've been so busy. I have not. But I'm on chapter 8.5.
Okay, well, we'll let you slide there.
So I have to say that, like, for me, for someone to admit on a first date that they're in therapy, that's kudos to them, because there's such a stigma around therapy and mental health and mental illness in our society, just in general. So for him to be forward with that information about like, hey, you know, this is what's up. I'm seeing a therapist. I've seen her since this age. She's known me all my life. You know, I think, you know, that's good for him. However, I
Right.
would never compare a date to my therapist. Oh yeah, y'all said the same thing. I did what?
Did he do that? He didn't do that in the very first date, though.
No, I know, but I'm saying later on, like he had the conversation with her, like, oh, you remind me of my therapist. Personally, like I'm, you know, as someone with a psych background, at the end of the day, I don't want to be compared to a therapist. You know what I mean? If I'm dating you or I'm married to you, I never want the other person to be like, you know what, you remind me of my therapist. It's like, that's, and then like, I love his little moment, like, oh, would a therapist do this? Would I do this to my therapist? Boy, I don't know. Some people do weird things, you know?
Yeah, he was joking though. You can tell he was joking.
But I have to say that while he is immature, he has taken steps with Janae, at least throughout the first 8 chapters, to say, I'm willing to put the work in. And I don't think there's anything wrong with her sticking around to see what he's going to do, because at the end of the day, for me, and I'm probably, you know, Janae would probably say the same thing, any effort is better than no effort, you know?
Well, I'm immature because if you tell me, and I know this is not politically correct, you seeing a therapist on our first date, I can't go on the second one.
You will cut somebody and just
Because in my mind, you're triggering an antenna for me to think like, oh, what he in therapy for? Did he kill somebody? Did he murder somebody?
Well, I mean, Janae said that. Janae is like, what's going on there?
Yes, like save that for the third date. Let me catch some feelings for you first.
Yeah,
That's
for the third date, that's not even gonna be a second date.
Yeah.
'Cause, yeah, that kind of go both ways though. If you say you're in
real bad.
If you say you're in, we're sitting at dinner, and you just casually drop, oh well, my therapist, what are you in therapy for?
Right.
Then it's like, okay.
I'm gonna get to you, Shamel, but I want to ask Jay. Jay, what do you think about me and not being quote unquote put together at 45? Are they dateable or no?
Well, that's you see is what you get. Don't expect too much.
I knew you was gonna deliver. That's why I asked you that. I knew you was gonna deliver.
Don't expect too much, because that same one is not put together at 45. He damn sure not gonna be put together at 50.
I agree. Thank you for delivering, Jay.
Yeah, because my mother told me that you have from 0 to 30, especially if you're a man, you have from 0 to 30 to play, do whatever you got to do, whatever. From 30 on, because there's no going back to your 20s, you should have a plan in order from your 30s on up to now.
And I agree.
All right, Mama, she told you.
I agree. Now we'll say this, and this is me adding a little something in, so we can't talk about it too long. But I'm gonna tell you somebody who was not trying to see Calvin on date 2. That was Miss Leslie. Okay, the reading that Miss Leslie gave, I'm sorry, I gotta read it because that was epic. She says, number 1, you are not a pleaser. You please yourself, and maybe that's why you think you're a pleaser. Number 2, yes, I have been screaming, but that was me using you as a warm dildo. Number 3, I see why you are alone. No one can deal with your selfish, arrogant ass. And she pushed back from her table and reached for her purse. Calvin said, I sat there trying to dissect all the things she just said. Did she just say she used me as a warm dildo? Yes, Calvin, she did just say that. Page 283 in the book was everything to me, because when I got to Miss Leslie, I wish I could have reached the pages and high five.
Funny. Yeah.
And then she said, do yourself. Yes, when she said, do yourself a favor and stop dating. No, she said, do the women a favor and stop dating.
You bad for the female race. That's low.
You lesbian girl.
But the thing about it, though, it worked for him all of the time, though. I mean, he's able to accomplish what he wanted, which was to just do what he wanted to do with them and send them on their way, and he was satisfied with that until he met his match. So I mean, Leslie, she kept coming back for some reason,
Yeah.
and maybe it was
Yeah.
but she came back.
Yeah. You know
But
why
he has his public persona and his private persona. And when he was in that restaurant at that particular time, he wasn't going to let anybody else know that he was
Right.
ditched by this woman.
Oh no.
So now he's going to flex his muscles, let the other women see him, give him a little show. I mean, that's his public persona.
Absolutely.
That's his fakeness
Yes.
publicly. And then when he goes on in life, he's a broken man.
Yes. Very much so.
Yes.
Very much so.
Broken, and he's trying to get it together. He knows he has to do it, but he doesn't know what he needs to do.
I like that, Joe. Are you high-fiving Miss Pat or the topic?
I'm raising my hand.
No, you raising your hand. I like that, guys. Joelle, you may have to teach the rest of us how to do that. Go ahead, Joelle. What would you like to say?
I wanted to circle back to the therapy thing, because if a guy told me that he was going through therapy on a date, I would kind of like that.
Yeah.
Because I want to know who you truly are. I want to know what you really got going on. You know what I'm saying? And so even that can lead to a deeper conversation. You know. So what are you going to therapy for? And then I'm waiting for his answer. Now, depending on his answer, that will make me decide if I want to go on another date or not.
So what if he says that's kind of private?
Huh?
What if he responds to you, I'd rather not talk about that right now. That's kind of private.
Okay.
then he shouldn't have brought it up.
But he brought it up. Yeah, he brought it up.
Brought it up.
I said it depends on what he would say
afterwards.
Yeah.
He went therapy.
Is it court ordered?
There's a lot of people walking around that need therapy and aren't self-aware enough to realize they need it.
I got you, Joanne.
Right.
You know what? You're right. I didn't think about the fact that shows a trait of transparency. I'm gonna go to Gloria, and then somebody else had the hand up. I can't remember who was after Gloria. Shamel. So Gloria.
I'm gonna also speak on the gentleman. I mean, with Calvin and his therapy. You know, to even get a Black man to go to therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
A plus. And if he's in therapy, I think, like Joelle said, I will see why he's in therapy, like whether it's court order because he beat up his girlfriend or because he's dealing with some sort of past, issues. But the fact that he does realize that he needs help or needs therapy, it's a plus in my book. Because you know how many men are walking around here need some therapy. Won't go because there's this stigma put on therapy. I don't need I don't need no therapy. Yes, you do. And then a fact that Jay said something about getting it together at 30. My thing is, I have an opinion about that. If you don't get it together between 1 and 30, the way I feel about it, as long as you get it together, then that's a plus in my book. Because sometimes it takes people a little longer to get it together. Everybody has their timeline, or everybody don't get there at the same time.
Right.
But if you get there, but after 50, 60, if you ain't there, you got a little bit more time. You got more time behind you than you do in front of you. And it's a good possibility you probably won't get it together. You know what I mean? It's kind of over, because you half of 100. So, you had a lot of time. Now from 30 to 50, if you don't get it together, then I have a problem with you. But I have nothing against a man that's trying. He done tried all avenues, and he finally broke down and committed himself to going to therapy. So,
and the fact that he started earlier probably did help with that.
Yes.
The fact he started at 4.
That's because it was required.
Yeah, I was
It
about
was
to say, yeah, it was
required.
required for him as a child actor. Yeah.
Yes.
Let me go to the Facebook group before I take any more comments. They have a lot to say over here. Let's see. Tracy O'Leary Wright said, I think he's a good catch. No kids, kinda. I am Team Calvin. He needs some time. Okay. She also says he has to have a woman like Janae. That's a good perspective.
Yeah, that's true.
And let's see here. She also said he's going to have to talk to advance the relationship. Yes. And you know, that's a good point. That's a good point to Jawad's point as well. Stephanie Williams said therapy is good. At 50, it's close. She was making a comment to you, Gloria. At 50, it's close to a wrap. J.S. says, if you live long enough, you will eventually need some form of therapy.
Amen. I agree.
Yeah. As time goes on and you get on.
Yeah.
So for sake of time, I'm gonna move on to the next question. Were you guys surprised to find out that Tori cheated on Eric, her ex-husband, that was something borrowed, something new, with Janae's brother Joey?
Yes, ma'am. And they still friends. Yes.
Yes.
My mouth was like,
It was a good twist.
That's a sign.
Yes.
I like that.
Really good friends.
That's some good tea.
They both had the same thing. They all
Oh my goodness.
have the same history.
You said what there, Wanda? I didn't quite hear
I
you.
think as girlfriends, all three of them had pretty much the same kind of history. Their relationships with men were a lot like men's relationships are defined with women a lot of times. It's not serious. It's not, you're not getting out totally into me unless I decide you're going to get totally, I'm going to get involved with you. But otherwise, it's just to kind of love them and leave them kind of thing.
Oh my gosh. I was thinking to myself when
they weren't all that way, were they?
Well, I mean, Dawn got married for a moment. And and then the same, Tori wasn't giving herself to anyone. She was same thing, loving them and leaving them. And Janae, I think Janae probably is the most compassionate one. Especially she has been willing to even to talk to Calvin, to understand Calvin and the things.
Well, she's definitely patient because Brian is a whole entire mess.
Exactly, right. But she stayed with Brian for what?
Ever.
Well, exactly. And
too long.
Yes, Keisha. Yes.
She still only used them for what she needed them for. So they all had that kind
She
of.
was with him 5 years and 11 months and 2 days and 3 seconds too long.
Too long.
Okay. Being with somebody for 10 years and we grown, that's so redundant and played out. For those who, especially if you're looking forward to moving to the next level. So I just don't, and I'm just making a brief comment here. Now, Jay, I will ask you, since you a little bit, your eyes are moving up and down, I'm gonna pick on you for a minute. Being in a relationship extended amount of time with no goal, or both of you guys being on the same page, not being on the same page, let me just say that.
Yeah.
What do you think? What's your take on that?
If you're not on the same page, it's never going to work, especially if you want one thing and she wants another or vice versa. So you have to be striving because it's going to always be tugging and pulling. You know what I mean? She wants this, you want that. We can't agree on where we're going. So it's going to be chaotic.
And that's exactly what it is. Yes.
Right.
So here's what I'm going to say. I had a Brian. My first husband was that. I was with the man for 22 years. We had 2 children. I knew after 10 years I couldn't stand him. However, I knew that I had to raise my kids and get this done. But when I finally decided to leave him after the last kid shut the door and was gone, I knew that I couldn't stay friends with him because he didn't understand how to let that go. And if I remained with any kind of friendship with him, he would sit in the parking lot at my job, stalking me and stuff. So I knew that it was never, that it's not my nature not to be kind to people and try to speak to them and treat them decently. But I couldn't do that with him because I knew that's who he was. You can't be nice to some people. You got to cut them off and it's over with. And that's what I did.
And that's what the girls were telling her, and she wouldn't do it because they were both, Dawn and Tori was telling her that she needed to cut Brian.
Zip.
Yeah.
It's not easy. It's very difficult to do that.
Oh, I understand.
Especially if it's not your nature, it is difficult. So you're punishing yourself along with them. But if you want to get rid of them, it's cold turkey. That's it.
So can I ask a question then?
Sure, I'm gonna go to Wanda and then Gloria.
So we're talking about Calvin and the fact that he's in therapy for what he knows is relationship challenges, whether they're romantic or physical or whatever, just parents or whatever. And now we're talking about Janae, who stayed in in a long relationship, 10 years. Even when that was over, she still saw him for the last 18 months off and on. Now, Janae hadn't gone to therapy, but you have to think about her behaviors though. So she attracts to herself she doesn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. She is attracted to, Brian stayed around because again, she didn't want to hurt his feelings. He's a nice guy, but she really wasn't into him. So you have to think about, to me, do we see her personality being very similar to Calvin's? It's just that she hasn't taken a step to improve that. She has so many other great things going on with her. She's definitely not selfish in the way that Calvin is, but is it insecurity that has kept her all this time?
I think so, and that's expressed too when she opens the book up, and I know the first chapter she talks about being the fifth wheel with her friends, and her perception of marriage is that she doesn't want to have a failed marriage. So that to me, Wanda, I agree, that to me is a sign of her insecurities. I'm gonna jump over to the Facebook page before I know Gloria had her hand up and someone else I can't remember, but Tracy Olivia Wright says this is what happens when there is no therapy. I just wanted to make sure. And also Deborah King said I think she's referring to, I'm going to go on a limb and say she's referring to the whole Tori sleeping with Joey. She said that's an interesting twist. And it's funny that you brought that up, Miss Pat, because one of the questions I wanted to bring up was, I thought it was so odd and this is a question that was inspired from Gloria. It was just so odd with her obligation. I know she's still single with Brian. He was so annoying to me. Wanted somebody to be there with the family operation, being in the house. When he was in the house, and Calvin, I'm just going to jump into it. What do you guys think about the moment in chapter 5 of the book when Calvin let Brian inside of Janae's house because he strategically left his phone because he wanted to spend the night? I wanted to fight him anyway.
I know that. You want to fight who, Brian or Calvin, for opening the door?
I'm with it.
Calvin opened the door for Brian. Remember when she was in the shower?
I do. I said, but you said you wanted to fight him. Who did you want to fight, Brian or Calvin?
Oh, no, Brian. Brian. Calvin should have beat up Brian. But remember, Janae was like, no, he's too big. That whole matchup wouldn't be good. But you know what?
He did say that.
But you know what? You got to look at these books Marlee has written. And, a great, wonderful nod to you, to Keisha. It's the blueprint. It's kind of what Jay talked about when Jay was talking about if you're on two different pages. Communication is always important. But you got two imperfect people trying to come together, what if their goal is to get married, to have children or whatever, but everybody's got their own blueprint. And when you look at these women, you look at Dawn's story, her blueprint a little bit is, from her perspective, is from her upbringing.
Tori.
Tori, the way she operated, her blueprint was from her parents. Yep. We are our children's first everything. So when you have these kids, you got to be together. You don't have kids and then try to get them together, because you are their first everything.
That's right.
Now, when you look at Janae, you got to look at her parents' dynamic. I can't remember. I might have got a little bit too deep, but mom and dad were divorced, but they were still, what is she doing with Brian? Been together, breaking it off, but still they are copying their parents' blueprint. And so it was a book that I read about blueprint, and it talks about, how girls see their father was in the house. And it was talking about her and her husband married. And so when they start doing therapy, when the problem arose, she worked from home, and it was saying that, okay, if you need something, tell the kids, go ask your dad. And he was like, why do you do that? When she was growing up and she wanted some ice cream or something, her mother would say, go ask your dad. So her blueprint was for her husband that he provided the money. So, I mean, you look, and I think I'm sorry, I forget, I may have jumped a little too far in Janae's mom and dad relationship.
Don't. Thank you.
Okay. But your girls, your and the guys too. I think Stephanie brought it up when she said, he didn't have a Brock, and then you got Calvin didn't have a Brock. So, his blueprint is from his parents. So, that's
I like the parent twist. Let me go to Facebook real quick and jump back to you guys. So JS says she dealt with Brian because she wasn't really doing anything else.
Really good for that.
He was a filler. I agree with that. Yes, Tracy Olivia Wright said yes, he was a real pain. Brian is I that whole chapter 5 situation did it for me with him. Who does that? And I'm so glad Calvin was the one that opened the door. I am so, that just made my day, even though I was shocked. But moving on to the next question. And this question was inspired, Alex. Janae and Calvin's conversation over FaceTime about his family. What are your thoughts? Alex, do you want to start with that one?
Sure. So I think, we talked about, the conversation of him being, forwarded the information that he is at therapy for this, that, the other reason. But then one thing that she even asked him kind of early on in their courting, if we can kind of call it, she asked about his family, and he's like, I don't want to talk about it, at least not at this moment. I think it takes a lot of not necessarily strength, but there's a slight maturity there about knowing when it's an appropriate time to talk about something and when it's not an appropriate time to talk about something. He knew in that very first moment that this conversation, because of how he felt with his mother, was going to put him in a really bad mood, because that's how his relationship with his mother was. He couldn't even think of her name or her as a person without getting angry or unhappy. And it was kind of a huge damper on his mood. I think the conversation that they had about him growing up and how he grew up versus how his siblings grew up, not only is there an immaturity because of how he grew up, he didn't have a stable representation of what he should be doing. He was jealous of his siblings because they were living a childhood that they could have that he couldn't have. So not only did we find out that his relationship with his parents, specifically his mother, is not good because she's not motherly, she's not loving, she's just kind of there, and that his father kind of just lets her be like that. But we also find out that there's not only a lot of jealousy towards his siblings, who have a wonderful relationship with each other and his parents, while not.
No, they didn't. Not with the parents.
Not with the parents. They had a great relationship with each other. He grew up lonely. So not only is he jealous of his siblings, he is really, really hurt to the core that he never got to experience what his siblings got to experience.
Right. You
But
think
Alex,
he uses women as a focal point to make them feel inferior because he feels inferior to his mom, like because he can't control that? What do you think about that? And then I'm gonna go to Wanda. Yeah.
I think that his relationship with his mother definitely has a huge impact on how he interacts and treats women, because I think there's kind of, if you have a horrible relationship with your mother, there are two ways you can go with it. You can become the person that you are supposed to become. You're a good person. You treat everyone really respectfully. You treat them how they should be treated, or you treat others how you were treated by your own mother.
Gotcha. I agree with you.
That's kind of the way he went, that he said, you know what? My mom treated me like horse crap, therefore all women are bad.
And that's how I'm going to treat them. I'm with you there on Alex. Go ahead, Wanda. I'm sorry.
No, I can see that happen. I mean, I can see that happening with some people, that they would treat people the way they would treat it. I guess I interpreted Calvin's relationship with his mother as well as with his siblings as, I think he wished he had what they had between the four of them, but I don't know that he despises his mother. I think he just doesn't understand why she's not as maternal as most women are.
Right.
Okay. In his relationship, the way he and Leslie, his first date, interacted, I don't think it was disrespectful. I think it was just arrogant on his part, because he just feels like he rules the world. He's successful, he's good looking, he's had this, young childhood as a star, and now he's this big real estate person. So I think that's the kind of arrogance he carries. But I don't think that is I don't think that he sees women. I don't feel like he sees women in a negative way. I mean, he seemed to be very respectful of his aunt. He was very respectful of the couple that have the business in the same building that Janae works in. So I don't think that it is that. I really see him as really trying to get through the hurdles that he feels like he needs he's recognized he needs to climb, but also the fact that there is someone in his life like Janae who has, like he said, if I put, write down my 5 and write down hers, she has 45 and I still have nothing, but because he sees someone greater than him. And it doesn't seem like he's realized that before. So I don't see it. I think I am impressed at his ability to learn at 45.
Okay.
I mean, more than it being, it just being a lost cause. I just think that he's recognized, and it's taken this to bring him to that.
I agree. I like that, Wanda. You may be giving Calvin's 2 points back with me. Mel, your turn.
I agree with Wanda. I just don't think that Calvin treated women mean, because just like you said, he had a relationship with his aunt and he could talk to his aunt about anything. And that lets me know if he didn't get along with his mom, he had his aunt he could talk to, and she knew the relationship that him and his mother had. So she was able to guide him along the way too.
Right. I don't think he despised women either. The other thing is, Alex, I wanted to point out was that one of the things that Calvin did. Now, you remember when at the beginning of the book, when he and Leslie were on the date. Now, Leslie went off on him and walked off. But before he left, he made sure that she had a ride home, because she walked out.
Oh, I forgot about that.
When he sent her a text, he said, I need to make sure at least she has a ride home, no matter how mad she was. So a man that despises women, they don't do that.
Right.
Whatever. Even though he had a rocky relationship with his mother, he's still a good person at the core. He just has a bad relationship with his mom, and he's also not necessarily sure what to do with Janae, because she's different than the rest. He's not being challenged. So
I want to clarify what I meant. I want to clarify. So I didn't necessarily mean he thought women were trash or anything like that. He didn't like women. What I meant was, so to backpedal a little bit, when a child, whether it's a male or a female child, when they don't have a mother figure in their life, they will seek it out in someone else. So he found his mother figure in Aunt Faye.
Yep.
Who was she was not only the mother figure, she was a caretaker. She was a someone who like took care of him, mind, body, spirit, soul, everything. She was everything to him. And that's why his relationship with her is more familial. Like he sees her more as a mother figure, more so than his own mother. I will say though, you know, having a bad relationship with your mother can affect how you interact with everyone in general. So if someone is expressing care, concern, an interest, whether non-romantically or romantically, there's going to be a bit of a wall put up at first because he doesn't know how to respond to that. So I think going back to my comment about how he compared Janae to his therapist, I think the reason why he compared her to the therapist is because he was comfortable with her. He could talk to her, and there wasn't judgment coming from her, because not only did we find out that she is a leaser for underprivileged, kind of bad situations, people who live in that the area that they live in, that is the mark of a true compassionate person who is selfless. The conversation that Calvin and Janae had about why aren't you, charging them out the wazoo for this? You could get 3 times the mortgage for the unit. And she was like, that's not why I have these units. I have these units to be able to help other people. So
I love that.
That moment was so beautiful, and I had to sit for a second because it was such a well described and well written moment that I was like, this is definitely this character development that we find out in this very little second about Janae made me realize why she was investing the time in Calvin to begin with. She was a caring person and a compassionate person, and she wanted to give him a chance that it was possible that other women were not going to give him.
Right. And I agree with you. Thank you, Gloria, for reminding me. I wasn't going to forget. I think Shamel and Jawad had their hands up after Alex.
Yeah, I wanted to say, I've learned from personal experience that sometimes with men too, you have to.
Uh-oh, she froze. Uh-oh. Okay, well, Shamel, you go ahead and we're going to come back to Jawad to make her point.
Oh, I already said something.
Okay. Jawad, you froze.
It was Jawad.
Repeat what you were saying.
Am I okay now?
Yeah.
I was saying that I know from personal experience, sometimes with men, you have to read in between the lines and listen, because it's not easy for them to let their guard down. It's sometimes they're trying to communicate things to you, but they don't straightforwardly say what they're really trying to say. I think for Janae, it seems as if, and you guys can tell me, Janae is a good listener, and she does give that motherly vibe that a lot of men look for. They look for that in their wife too, or in a woman, like a motherly figure, because they oftentimes need that. And so, with Calvin, just as Alex said, when he referred to Janae as his therapist, what he was truly saying is that I can talk to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. When a guy, and I'm assuming that this is the same thing for Calvin, when they're dealing with women that they wouldn't normally see as someone that they may want to have a long-term relationship with, you will see that arrogance, you will see that mask, you will see what they're trying to portray. But when they get in front of a woman who they really like, dang, I think I want to be with this chick, they start to just unravel. Sometimes they don't even know what to do. They act all crazy, say they need therapy, and just cut the date off because they don't know how to deal with those feelings, especially when it's a woman that you for the first time, like, dang, I like her. Bye. They don't know what to do. So I am team Calvin because, you know, he's all right.
You go right ahead. Somebody, I'm on team nobody yet. I'm on team where is Marlee Ray going with this? That's what team I'm on. Okay. I love the fact that you are highlighting the what if Jawar, because sometimes you shut things off because we don't see them in our box. Mm-hmm. And so I don't blame Calvin. I just, as a woman, I just am annoyed with his come off. I'm a delayer with it. But real quick, before we conclude our questions, one I do want to throw in, and it was inspired by Miss Tracy Olivia Wright. What do you think about this going into this power couple thing? He kept reflecting on accomplishments and comparing them together. Like 1 or 2 times, fine, but it kept to be, I don't know, it was almost like it was a political campaign to get with her. Don't get me wrong, I think Calvin really digs Janae, but that whole comparing her accomplishments, I mean, do you even, you find out what people do and you're impressed by their accomplishments. But I don't know, did y'all find that odd? I did.
He wants to be the Kincaids.
Yep. Yeah.
Those Kincaids. I can't wait to find out what's going on.
His blueprint, Miss Pat, his blueprint, because he doesn't have that in his family. Yes. So the Kincaids are important. And the wife is even grooming him. So that's his blueprint. He wants that. Man, Trey will cut somebody loose quick for 0 reasons. But that's a goal to look forward. That's a goal looking forward to. And as couples, that's what you're supposed to do. In relationships, you're supposed to build. Like he just thought it was about real estate, making money. And then Janae showed him, no, it's a little bit more than that. It's about giving to others less fortunate. And then that made him, like Jawar was saying, it made him go deep and like, oh my gosh. Because you got to realize he doesn't have that nurturing. Although ain't nothing like auntie. I mean, you know, me and my auntie is so you know it's good. Yeah,
she showed him.
Yes.
And that's the difference. You have to see it to feel it.
Exactly. So that made it even deeper and made him even want to work harder to change and grow, because he like, this is something that I really want to be invested in, you know. And then she has that patience. I can't remember who brought it up, but Janae has that patience, like, you know, mothers do. I don't have it, but she does have that sense of patience. That's really good.
Yeah.
And I mean, and so he did mention it, but he just mentioned it to Keisha a couple of times. But I would say we're all ignorant to our own background. Right? Because you got to realize this was a child star. And in case you don't know, I'm sort of a big deal. And this is what I do. I close in this. And so even giving her pointers, that was just an ignorant, not meaning a bad word, meaning he just wasn't aware and didn't know. And I mean, I'm not saying I'm not Team Calvin, but I watch him, and what I like about Marlee books is these characters, how they grow and they develop and they come to be better people. I mean, it's rare that you find this in the real world, especially when you're dating, but these books give you hope, like, okay, like Miss Pat says, she got to write some of these guys into real life. She got to write some of these relationships into real life. And so with these books, it helps you see that, you know, it may be guys out there like Calvin, you know, they just need a little polishing. I don't know past 40 though, but, you know, need a little polishing, you know. And it's just that may be an area as women that we may need. And as Jay said, or vice versa, you know, it doesn't just be exclusively for men, it could be for women too.
Great point, Kendra. I have to say, you and Jawar have given me a different perspective. I'm still not with them, but you slowly.
Jesus gonna have to bring that out.
You will.
A little bit more comfortable. You know what? I see why y'all married and I'm not. Let me say that. Let me go to the Facebook group and see what they're talking about. So, look, my commenter of the night, Tracy Olivia Wright. He wanted her love, but his mom had her on quilt, which made it hard for her to show and display love. What do you have to say about that? Now, Wanda, I'm gonna go to you. I think I missed your hand, so I'm gonna go to you on that one. You can comment on what you had to say before I made that question, but I still want to get your opinion on that as well.
So I was just going to add, though, when you were talking about how do you feel about him bringing it up a couple of times about the, being a power couple or whatever, but I think it's because that's all he knew. For him, what success looked like for him was those things. He never thought about what it meant to really have a relationship with someone. He only saw what he thought to be a power couple, but not the work that goes into being any kind of couple, whether it's a power couple or not. And so I think that that's just where he was. And if you think about even in the dating scene today, and especially in this area, in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, most people, the first thing is about where do you work?
Yes.
Yes.
And so that's just the mindset that so many people have. And he's not wrong for it. It's just what it is. And again, Janae has shown him that you can have all of those things too, but you can have compassion. You can have, you can be selfless. You can be, you don't have to be a millionaire to be happy, and to as long as you're giving back. So it's not wrong for him. It's just again, I think Janae is showing him different, and he is not seeing that in any other relationships. You think about how materialistic he even said a lot of the women are that he dated. That they would be fine, that they would never want to go to a barbecue place, a $10 place. They'd always want something more, fancier and more expensive. And that she's just who she is, but it's not bougie, it's not superficial, it's not, she'll cut her own grass, she could have had a lawn. All of these things. So this is new for him. And so you talk about maturing at a certain age, he is seeing so much in these 3-4 weeks with Janae that he's seen in his whole life.
He really is, and I think she's a fresh glass for him. Before I move on to the next question, the last question of the night, we have some more comments here. And Steph Williams, who she's under the weather tonight, she couldn't be with us, but she said she loved the power couple goals. Okay. Brandy Etheridge said they take a little from each other. I guess that's why they work well with each. Tracy says that's why I think Janae is great for Calvin. Brandy also says, I'm team couple. We are all so diluted from the maker that we just have to find someone we are willing to accept, and vice versa.
That's right.
That's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yes.
So, I like to end on a sting. What did you guys think about the sex scene and how he felt insecure afterward? Go, Miss Pat, you first. I saw that face. And after Miss Pat, hold up before you start. Nene, I want you to go next. Go ahead, Miss Pat.
Insecure. Why was he insecure about the sex?
Go ahead, Marlee, take it away.
Sorry, what did you say? Keisha, I missed that.
Okay. So how he felt insecure after the sex.
Afterward. Kind of afterward, when he kind of left and went to the bathroom, and he was kind of upset that, remember, they had been talking on the phone, and she was saying that, okay, I'm going to be in charge of mental communication, and he said, oh, I'm going to be in charge of physical communication.
Mm-hmm.
This is his area. I'm commanding her. And as it happened, he commanded her for a little while, but she kind of flipped the script. So
among other things,
he had to go to the bathroom and listen to it itself after it was over. Because he felt very insecure. He really didn't know what to do. And he was kind of upset with himself because he said, I shouldn't have let her do that. I should have stayed in control. So he was a little insecure about it. A lot insecure.
Yeah. Well, he was doing the Tori thing, When Tori thought she was running the show, she had to find out. And she enjoyed it much better when she wasn't running the show.
Right.
True. Stephanie, you was going to say that, right?
Now, I was thinking back to what transpired with him and Lusty. he controlled what she was saying. He thought he was all that. And he was trying to control that whole sex thing. And like you said, Janae flipped the script on him. He wasn't used to that. So he was like, wait a minute, this is how it's always been with the women I get with, because I only let them get so far into my psyche, but I'm going to take control. And he couldn't take control because Janae flipped it on him. So
he flipped it on him.
About Les, but Les was
he was happy about it.
but he still was like, look, he was like, but wait a minute. I just thought about what Leslie said.
I was reading, I was like, is this a tug of war game? Like, somebody get me down. Wanda, you was gonna say something, and then I got a special question for Jay.
No, other than the roles were reversed for him, and how different again is. But his whole point is this insecurity. All of it is. And second guessing, well, insecurity. I mean, they it pretty much adds up to the same. Is that he lacks that confidence, and he's more intimidated now than he's ever been in his life. He's more intimidated than his mother could have ever made him feel for, not for, for whatever success he might have had or for whatever attention she needed. Mm-hmm. This has made him even more insecure. If he can't control the bedroom, he can't control the boardroom, he can't control. I mean, so he is, but the other part, and again, I'm anxious to see what the next chapters bring, is that he's not giving up, and that's the thing, is
that's
that
true.
He's not giving up. He's not yet.
Absolutely,
he's not giving up, and I think in any relationship where there is, woman to woman, man and man, man and female, someone has to be a little bit more of a nurturer than the other, and it's relied upon. But anyway, Jay, I want to ask you, in a situation, don't do that. How does that relate to a man in a heterosexual relationship when women, and I know you're only going to be able to give your opinion, you're not going to be able to speak for every single person, but when a woman is viewed as dominant all the time sexually, is that something that's alarming yet, or what's your take on that?
Well, it depends on how dominant, because, sometimes in some situations, a guy want a woman to initiate, you know what I mean? As far as, how some guys, they always have to be the one to initiate something. And if you're in the mood, you're in the mood. If not, it's like, okay, I'm gonna make it extra special tomorrow. Not damn tomorrow.
Knew he was gonna deliver, y'all. Yeah. Just trust.
So if we're sitting there, watching TV or watching the game, I'm speaking for myself. If you come in there naked or whatever, damn the game. I hit the record and watch the game later. Because those moments don't come too often. So that's just my take on it. Most men, and I talk to some of my boys, we love it when y'all come and say, okay, I want it, or you initiate something, as opposed to us trying to initiate it, not knowing if we're going to get that rejection. I'm sorry, baby, but, I'll make it up to you tomorrow. Damn that, but I.
You can never go wrong with the J effect, okay?
There you go. Never.
So I do want to say, Marlee Ray, again, I don't want to sound, keep the sounding repetitive. This book, this first half of this book, is you knock my socks off again, girl. You doing your darn thing. I hope this is nurturing your writing finger and your creative mind, because you are really impressing me. And also, this energy of writing is feeding through, because Alex has a book that's out now, and we can look at him. And,
hey, Alex!
Look at that. There you go. Abiento.
We're getting that.
Yes. So I'm loving it. Stephanie, Love Calls is coming. Marlee Ray got a truckload coming our way. So I am just loving it. But just to give you guys a little teaser that you need to keep in mind for chapter 9 through 17. And we're going to review that on mark your calendars, July 26th, same time, same place, chapters 9 through 17. So again, July 26th, which is a Sunday, same time, same place. And it's going to be, July 26th, 7 p.m. And we're going to review, of course, the concluding chapters, which is chapter 9 through 17. So you guys mark your calendar. In reading chapter 9 through 17, just keep in mind the conversations that Calvin has with his therapist. That's the plug. So I want you guys to have that on your mind, keep that in mind as you read chapters 9 through 17. I'm going to pass the mic off to Marlee Ray. Oh, go ahead, Stephanie.
Before you pass it to Marlee, I just wanted to tell her specifically, I'm in another book club and we were talking yesterday about sequels. And like, usually when you get to like the third book, if the third book is not as good as the others. And I told the girls, I'm like, look, Marlee Ray, I said, baby, when I say this book is better than the other two, I kept reading. I couldn't put it down. Y'all read it in 2 days. To me, this book was better than the other two. The other two were good, but this one was the best. So Marlee Ray, you did that, girl.
You know what? The great thing about it, I think everybody has their favorite, because I know some people up here think Don.
The last one is my favorite.
Yeah, the last one's my favorite. Yes, Janae. Yeah.
What if you said all three?
No, the last one, the very last one after this. This is the end of this sequel.
Yeah, this
but
sequel.
The other will. Okay, yeah, it's the other book that starts a whole new sequel, right, Marlee?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kendra's on another series.
Yeah. She is. And I need her to water down.
Like I have listened to gazillions of books and read several books, but it's been a while since I've actually sat down and read a book. I read more personal self-development books, like I said, because genre romantic, that's not because it gets too more on the communication and entanglement stuff. And I'm not really interested in that. I want the sustenance. I want to see people grow. I want to see them like you with him 10 years and he ain't got no job. Like, to me, that's reality shows. I am not interested in that.
Entanglement.
I know.
Okay.
Right. They're communicating and entanglement. So I just, they focus too much on that. It's grown folks writing.
Yes.
And when most people say grown folks, they think, I call, sex communication. It's focused more on communication and entanglement. And your books are not like that. It gets into the depth. People have a personality. It makes you want more. Like, I woke up going, oh my gosh, I can't wait for the wind down tonight.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
And I don't do that about books at all.
Okay, let me tell you, Kendra don't give shout outs just to be nice. I'm about that. And I know we're getting ready to go over, but I do have to say this about Marlee Ray. Your perception on the male is on point, girl.
Yes,
I don't know.
Say it.
I don't know what you're doing to research that. And I'm not a man, but you have been teaching me game. Sorry, Jay and Alex. The game clearly, because I'm like, oh my God.
It's hope. Keisha gonna get somebody a second date.
Slow your horses.
Marlee, where you learn this stuff from, girl?
Right. Somebody you got an uncle. You got an Uncle Faye.
What you say?
Right. So here's the thing. It comes from my circle of friends. I'm gonna tell you the problems that I have heard and that we have walked through with each other over the years have just been enormous. So you get a lot of experience with, talking with your friends as well as your personal experience. Just
yes.
I'm 46, so I've been dating since I was 16. So my friends have too. So that's a lot of stories.
Okay, that's good. That's a good research.
What'd you say, Jay?
No, I was gonna say, and with y'all women, y'all don't realize, some of y'all don't realize how much power y'all have. Y'all have the power.
Oh, I know.
I do.
I know. And that ain't being arrogant.
We got the power.
That's not being arrogant. I know.
do.
That's right.
think I need training on when to execute and not to.
I love this group.
Me too.
Well, I'm glad
this is really so magnificent.
Oh.
It has enlightened my life. It really has.
Oh,
great job, Keisha.
Keisha, Stephanie,
I know us.
Everybody involved. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
Ah, Pat.
Glory. All right, Marlee, you got the mic. I don't went over a minute. You got the mic.
Okay, well, I just want to say thank you again. I look forward to 2 weeks from now when we conclude the book, and I also want to let, for those of you who have not read, Kendra and Nene, who have who have not read, I told Keisha earlier that that a lot will be explained and a lot will come to light in these last chapters. So there's a lot of questions that you probably have right now. And there's a little bit of foreshadowing in the front part of the book, you know, the few surprises in the end, but there's also, there's an epilogue at the end as well that's going to just wrap up the entire series so that you kind of know what's going on with Dawn and Macon, what's going on with Tori and Donald. It's a full wrap up to the series. So I'm just looking forward to talking to you guys about that in 2 weeks, because I'm very excited to see what you all think about how, like, what happens between Calvin and Janae, and, you know, just all of the ups and downs that they're going to go through. But it's a lot going on in those last chapters.
Baby, yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Well, you know what? I can't wait, and you never disappoint. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I want to thank everybody for joining. This is so important of the participation. You guys always exceed my expectations with the participation and your viewpoints. Oh my God, I'm learning so much from y'all just in doing a virtual review of these books. Y'all are really schooling me. And so just with everything, if you know me, you know I like to give, I'm a giver. So we are going to try to, and I'm going to have to coordinate with Stephanie and also Marlee Ray, since this is her platform, this show and the next one. We're going to come up with some sort of social organization to support, especially with everything that's going on. So stay tuned for that. We're going to come up with some sort of initiative to help support and give back. So I will be emailing, you know, the panelists about more details about that, but just look forward to it. And also our Facebook group, we'll be letting you guys know as well. I want to thank everybody again. Thank you, Facebook group, for participating with your comments and your insight is greatly appreciated. I can't wait for chapters 9 through 17. And so I will see you guys on July 26th, 7 o'clock. Same place, same time, same playground.
Happy reading.
You guys have a good night. Happy reading. And remember to still continue, especially you, Miss Pat, and also Marlee Ray, with y'all numbers. Stay safe and healthy.
Stay blessed.
And stay blessed. Definitely.
Good night, kids.
You guys have a good night. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Guys.